Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. I'm James, and with me is
Sam. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Sam. How are you today?
I'm really, really good. I feel like I've finally shifted the cold that's been hanging over me for the last 2 months. So I feel a lot chirpier than I have in a while. How about you?
I'm not too bad. I'm doing well. Well, I went to Key Model World at the weekend. That's one thing. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, otherwise I'm doing all right. I'm slowly progressing with the layout. So I've got some boards up, sort of open frame baseboards. I have 3 now open framed, and the ground has been lifted up. I'm going to start laying some track, and then progressing to go around the room, hoping to have some trains running by the end of the month. So, but we shall see, because I'm going to do sleeper spacing, and that's really tedious, boring, and I hate it. But my God, does the track look good when you've done it? So
Hated every second of sleeper spacing. So I was going to say to you, don't do it. But if it's something that you genuinely believe would make the whole layout look better around the room.
it's so it was what I did on the previous layout. So I still have all that track, that sleeper space. So I was going to not do it because I was like, do you know what? It looked good, but it was so tedious and boring. It took forever to do, and all I wanted to do was run trains. But then I've still got bullhead track, like you say, and when you compare it, it just looks so wrong. And I'm going to be using bullhead on the heritage line above. So I was like, I'm going to have to sleeper space all this.
Hmm. I can highly recommend the Bunter's Yard sleeper spacing jig.
Oh,
Although I would say buy 2 of them, because I have one of them, and putting it on one side and then the other side doesn't sit exactly how you're expecting it to. So having 2 on either side just to sort of space them together would be my word of warning.
yeah, I think I've already fallen into that trap because I only got the one, and I have the railway laser lines one, which I think is the one. Top of my head, no, they did it for New Junction first.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a very useful tool because originally on the last layout I made my own out of really thick cardboard, but after a while it got so battered from being pushed in between the sleepers that it sort of fell apart in my hands. But yeah, these are I've had a little go in it one corner, and they're great little tools. But yeah, it would be so much better if Pico just gave us correct space track.
So this week I've been working on scenic section of my layout. I've been using a hell of a lot of sculptor mold. So I already had 1 kilo of it. And as it happens, I needed to purchase another kilo of sculptor mold to work on the embankments on my layout and doing the polystyrene tops and stuff. So I've been doing that, waiting for that to dry. I've now painted several times the brown on top of that. So there's a little bit of color. It doesn't look like snowfall has happened on the island of Sodor on my layout anymore. But the bridge is in place. I've got some DCC trains running across it. I even went and picked up a couple of locos from Mum's that I'm going to have a play around with when I get a chance. Some of my steam engines, actually, because I was like, I quite enjoyed running the 14XX on there. So I was like, I'm going to have a go at running some other trains across there just to see how it looks. And obviously with the steam engines, like they're tiny compared to my huge diesel collection. And then I've also been working on point motors. I've had the first batch of my point motors. Thank you, Model Shop Portsmouth, for those using the MP1s, and I've been doing the test of can I get the LEDs to work with the point motor so that it shows you which track you've switched to. And I'm effectively going to start working on my control panel soon enough. And my little purchase, I got a refund from Amazon. And the one thing that I never thought I'd purchase is a D sub unit. So it's effectively like the computer connections that you get for monitors and stuff like that. And I've purchased a male and female version of that. And the reason for that is because I don't know what the distance between my actual fiddle yard and the control board is going to be. So I thought one of those D sub bits so that I can effectively wire the point switches and the LEDs into that as needed. And then the signal that's going to be going off to the point motors will go into the D sub. Then I'll get one of the extension cables like you get with a computer, plug it in. That'll go off to the fiddle yard boards. And then off the D sub, it's got screw link terminals, so you can just basically then wire your points in, and if you muck it up and put it the wrong way around, you just unscrew it, take the two wires out, switch them over, and then put them back together. So that's my like weird little purchase that I never thought I'd get in this hobby, but that's where I am.
That sounds great. I like that. Yeah, that's a cool little idea. That yeah, build a layout before you've even managed to move into your new house. So yeah, wicked stuff.
But you've been quite busy. Obviously, you've mentioned about you've been doing some little bits and bobs on your layout, but you went to Key Model World Live. Is that the right name for it?
Key Model World Live. Yes, it's a bit of a mouthful. But yeah, so that's the publishing company Key Model, who do the various modeling magazines, Hornby magazine, Airfix magazine. I think they might have one more off the top of my head, but can't be certain. But they decided that, they're going to have a show, but they're going to bring these worlds together. So it wasn't just model railways on display. There was remote control lorries, remote control aircraft, all the various scale kits that people have built. And it was absolutely great to have like all these worlds collide. It was really different and really interesting, and it was nice to have that little breakup. And so me and the boy went along, and he found it really interesting as well. He loved the remote control airplanes, and now has the wanting of another very expensive hobby, because they had a flight simulator there. So you could have a go at flying a remote control plane on the flight simulator, but they're like you plug in the actual controller that you'd use into the computer. So it's like, you're doing the real thing, but obviously on the computer. He seemed quite natural at it until he flew the plane into a portaloo. But
I mean, I admire that. If you're going to take someone out, take them out whilst they're going to the toilet. You'll never see it coming. Someone at their most vulnerable. Here's a plane going to crash into you.
Just hope you don't knock it sideways. So I just sat down in there. Oh God, it's everywhere.
So we were initially going to make the talk about Key Model World Live the main segment of this episode. Yeah. But in the last 10 days or so, there's been quite a bit of news. So upon having a quick chat before we started recording, we said we were going to make it so that we're going to talk about Key Model World Live in this sort of section instead as a what have you been up to, and then we're going to cover news as the main sort of segment of this. So if you're here for Key Model World Live, perfect, because it's right at the beginning of the episode, but there's been some really fun news that's come out in the last 10 days or so we're going to talk about that. So I guess my main thing is you did one of your tour videos where you went around and filmed all the different layouts at the exhibition. It was really good. The experience in itself, how did you get to go to a lot of exhibitions? What did you think of it? How would you go back?
I really liked it. I thought it was, as I say, I thought it was great to combine those worlds, because I had dabble in like the Airfix kits and that. I'm nowhere near the level of what those modelers were bringing to the table. So there was some outstanding stuff there, but it was good to see what can be done in different sort of areas of this whole modeling world, and how you could transfer those skills across. So I mean, that was nice, and I didn't speak to anyone who was a modeler, but hopefully they looked at the model railways and got ideas there, and vice versa. And it's that sharing of thought and skill and all that knowledge. And I thought it was great. What I would like to see, if they, I think they're hoping to do it sort of on a yearly basis, is Scalextrics and like Warhammer tabletop gaming.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any of that there, and I appreciate that their magazines don't really cover that. But I just felt if it's a model show for modelers, really do feel they should bring everything, into the mix, so we can have a taste of everything that's out there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The hall was naturally, I was expecting it to be in the same one that the Worley NECs always held in, but this one was held in Hall 12. So it was in a completely different part. It was a bigger hall. What I liked was with Worley, they tended to have that really big hall, but they squeeze you all into like a smaller segment, and have all this space around the edges. And it was all compacted and crowded, and you were really sort of squashed in. This was really opened up space. That, it wasn't too crowded. Well, Making Tracks was, you couldn't get near that. Yeah, it was a nice area, and there was activities for the kids to do. So they were doing scenery making, which the boy had a go at. There was pine car racing. We couldn't get near that. That was quite busy. Kids all wanted to do that. And so you build your own little pine car and race it down the side. And then at the other end of the room, there was a table for kit building, which was annoying because there was a kid working on a Millennium Falcon kit that I've been after for ages, and it was the only one they had. I was like, I wanted that.
Did you just push the child over and steal the
Yeah,
kit and run?
it's free anyway. So had all that going on, and then all the layouts there, and obviously the star of the show, making tracks, breaking a world record, becoming the world's largest portable model railway. Although I think portable was quite questionable when you need 5 vans to move it around. But I think that's a great achievement for Pete Waterman, the Rail Nuts. They've put a lot of hard work into that over I think it's the last 3-4 years they've been doing this. And it is absolutely great if you can get near it to see the trains run. They just disappear. Like, it's like standing on a hill looking over. And there's, I really do like that, the effort they put into it. Unfortunately, when we got there in the morning, I went to the news section, but they were having their usual teething troubles of the trains not being able to run. So it was we sort of stood there for a bit and nothing was moving, and then we have a child to entertain, so he was not having it and standing around waiting. So we moved on, but he did get to meet Pete Waterman, which was quite cool. So they obviously Curious Scale bought the Class 37 along, which was great to see.
Please tell me you got a photo in front of the 37.
Yeah, so the 37, the boy wanted a photo in front of it. So went to get the camera out. Someone was walking by, accidentally got in the shot. So I said, we'll do it again. And as went to take the photo, Pete Waterman happened to be walking in shot. And I said, oh, we're quick. We'll get Pete Waterman in the photo. And Pete was kind enough to turn around and stand with my boy and pose for a photo. So that made his day, because he quite often talks about wanting to see Pete Waterman's layout and that. So if you are listening, Pete, thank you very much for that. He really did appreciate that.
And if you are listening, Pete, we'll happily have you come on and answer the questions as well. Let's just make that one very clear. Just drop me a message.
I was just about to say that, yeah. I feel like we're almost friends now because, he's met my son. So
Makes complete sense. So what was the highlight of the event for you? What was something you think they could have done better? And my biggest question is, did you walk away with any bargains?
I think making tracks was definitely that sort of showpiece. And it's just a shame I just couldn't get near it enough. I would have liked to have seen it some more. But I think if you watch my video, you'll see how crowded that layout is. It's like 2 to 3 people deep. With a 6-year-old, I'm not going to try and force our way to try and get near the trains. It's just, I had to lift the camera up in the end and sort of film over people's heads. There was a lot of O-gauge there, a lot of O-gauge layouts. And I think the Bristol Temple Road, I think the name of it, so it's like a Great Western Shed with a mixture of Southern and GWR locos. That, I really like that layout. And Old Elm Park, also a GWR roundhouse layout depot, O-gauge again, absolutely fantastic.
I watched your exhibition video, and I was sat there going, this is going to tempt James, this is going to tempt James, this is going to tempt James. And I was just like, there's just a lot of bad things for you there.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help because when we first walked around, what I tend to do is I'll go to what I suspect is the quieter part of the show when you first get there, because obviously everyone walks in and tends to walk around the layouts at the front, and then they disperse to the back gradually. So I tend to go to the back and work my way back towards the front. And that way I can get nearer the layouts. And I'm giving it all away now. I'm going to do the same as me. I have to change me. But it also means that, the boy can get near the layout and doesn't get too crushed, because he doesn't like lots of people in space.
Yeah.
So like most of us, really. Walking in the back, there was the Gay Joe Guild. And managed to collar me. And I did ask him if they'd been listening to the podcast, because he was trying to tempt me into joining, showing me all the benefits of the club, the magazine, their forum, all the perks and that. So it was, and I said I would kindly give them a shout out So if anyone is interested in O Gauge modelling, the Gauge O Guild Club is something to look out for. You can have a look at their website. There's membership and all that on there. And I did walk away from there with a track plan book. He was like, "Do you have the space for it?" I don't know really. He said, "Well, we've got this book. This kind of give you an idea." So I took the book away just for an idea. Apart from that, I think purchases wise, I got a Backman wagon of EWS of some description, an MOA, low cider, a few electric bits, and possibly a Slater's O Gauge wagon kit.
So does this mean technically you have officially started O Gauge now if you've got that? Or is it until you've got a loco in your mitts?
Well, this is what we can talk about in the news section because you are a bad friend, okay? And that's what we're going to title this episode. You're a bad friend. This week, when the podcast comes out, is my birthday, and Sam very kindly gave me a birthday present towards something he's encouraged me to buy, and I felt bad for not buying it because he'd given me the money or some money towards it. So I have gone and also purchased the Daypole 14XX loco that's on sale with rails.
Yes.
So
you can't. Obviously, this is an audio podcast, but you can't imagine the smile that's on my face. And I'm sorry for sort of.
You ruined my whole plans because what I was going to do, I was going to buy that kit. I wasn't going to say a word, and then because this was like the story arc of the whole podcast series, at the end, I was just going to build the kit. We were going to record. I was going to send you a photo, ask you to look at the photo, and then you realised that I'd gone and dabbled into O Gauge, but you ruined the whole plan by tempting me with that 14XX. So that's that storyline ruined.
Sorry. So I mean, I say sorry. I don't actually mean it.
No,
but that does sound cool. I can't wait to see you build and make the kit. I imagine it's going to look absolutely outstanding when it's all done. So
yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do for a while because obviously the O Gauge does look so good and the size of it and that. And I think for a number of years now, considered just buying a kit just to have a go, even if I just built it and then I either just put it on display or just went, you know what, it's too big for me, I'll just sell it on. But at least then I had a go at it and I'd know if I'd liked it or not, sort of thing. But yeah, that's sort of the Key Model World show. But yeah, I think it was really great. Bumped into a few people there. So Tris at Double O'Neill, got to have a catch up with him. So hello, Tris, if you're listening. I know you said it's on your to listen podcast list. And a few other people that were around and about. So I think it was quite a good show. And hopefully we'll see it again next year with my recommendations of adding scale electrics and Warhammer, etc. So
on that note, we are going to take a short break and we're going to come back and talk about news because, as we said, there's a lot of news to go through and we want to make sure that we do it justice this week. So unless you've got anything else that you want to say about Key Model World Live, James, I'm going to suggest that we take a nice little break.
No, all I can say is, to everyone at Key Publishing, thank you very much. I think it was an absolutely superb show and hopefully you will do it again next year. Let's move on to the news.
Look at that! You see that there? The super shiny diesel loco that's coming this way. Yeah, I see it. Isn't it beautiful? So fresh, so clean, like it's straight out of the box. I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I prefer it to have a used look to it. In an ideal world, that would be nice, but I'm sure the owner doesn't have the confidence, skill or time to undertake such a job. Then why don't they just send it to Emperor's Path? Emperor's Path? Yeah. SBJ has years of experience in model railways and wargaming, the ability to meet your weathering needs, and works with you during the whole process to ensure the project is how you want it, not like it's come through a factory. Come on, that must cost a fortune. Not really. He offers different levels of weathering at really affordable prices. I've got my whole fleet weathered by him. My loco's got the full treatment, whilst my rolling stock just a dusting with the airbrush, and it looks really authentic. I might just get a quote. How do I contact him? You get him on Instagram at emperors_path, by Facebook, Emperor's Path, or emperorspathcontact@gmail.com. Emperor's Path Weathering. If it's not filthy, let's change that.
Hello. This is an unscheduled segment. It's James's birthday this week, and I just wanted to make sure that we all say a wonderful happy birthday to him on Friday when this comes out. So if you're listening to this on the week it comes out, on Friday, make sure you say happy birthday to James.
Okay, we are back, and this week we're doing things a little different. We're having the news in the middle, and it's not because my memory is very short and I can't remember what happened at Key Model World Live, honestly. This week, we'll start with what we always like to do. We always like to give a shout out for the great bargains that have come through in the emails, just in case you've missed them. And Rails, as you already would have known from the first segment of the show, have had a flash O gauge sale on the 14XX stroke 48XX stroke 58XX tank engines, the Great Western tank engines, or for those Thomas fans out there, Oliver. And yes, I was finally beaten and gave in and have purchased one of these locos just because I have been eyeing them up for a very long time. So yeah, that's a great deal, isn't it?
Oh, even I was tempted. I mean, I've been tempted by the Ogres. Since we started this podcast, it's been this little underlying theme that O gauge prices have been, oh, that's cheap.
Immediately after I purchased the 14XX from Rails, Daypol then sent out their May specials, and I was like, oh no, what have I missed out on? But fortunately, it was only a couple of Panya tanks this month for 250. So I was like, no, I'm not prepared to go that far just yet. So.
Well, let's just talk about the one that was on there that was a good deal. They had a 14XX unbranded, so effectively it was a completely black body shell.
Yeah.
But it was sound fitted O gauge for 225, I think it was. It was cheap.
260. I have it in front of.
Sorry, 260. So take the sound chip out. I always like to think that 100 minimum for a sound chip.
And I think O gauge sound chips are a little more because they require a little more power.
If really?
So we probably get an even better deal there.
Wow.
I can't be certain on it. I've only just started an O gauge.
I mean, now I think you're operating somewhere in the region of 4, 5 different gauges in your household now.
Right. So there's the boy has N gauge. I have American N scale, which is sort of I've been building up over the years. I've also obviously got the 009, which has been neglected quite badly since I've been building the OO. It's on its side, just stored under the layout, to the horror of many, I'm sure. Bits have fallen off it because it's been sort of succumbed to gravity. So there's 009, obviously the OO gauge. And yes, and I've still got TT kicking around. And yeah, now O gauge. So yeah, I pretty much have a model shop in my house.
Let's not forget the fact that you, I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but the NG7 stuff is now that you have O gauge, I think that's even more likely that that's going to appear in your house as well. And I need to say this out loud. I said this on the Backman release day because we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We need to start referring to it as no gauge, because NG7 doesn't sound catchy, whereas N for narrow and O for O gauge, let's start calling it no gauge. That sounds like a much better idea.
It just fell off the tongue, but NG7 does sound like a droid from Star Wars. So you've got TT-120 and NG7, the two Star Wars droids.
Beep, boop, beep, woo! You're now fully equipped to open up your own shop. The other deal that came out from Dapol, but Rails did most of the O gauge deals.
Yes.
So they also did one because we obviously talk separate from this. We don't just hold it all up ready for when you and I are going to sit down and record. But also they released a Terrier at a very nice price as well. And as a Southern boy, I do like a Terrier. But I think I said to you, go with the GWR because, in my opinion, it's the better of the two.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, so yeah, I did and ah between the two. Because I quite like the Terriers as well. Dream purchase, I think, in the O gauge would be a rebuilt Bully Pacific, just because every time I see one on a exhibition layout, they just look so stunning. But as I say, I got the Gauge O Guild gave me like a copy of their Gazette and a couple of other sort of information leaflets and that, and in there was the prices of some of these logos, and I was like, that will still be the dream for some time.
I get that. So I believe that's all of the O gauge deals, but it does tie in very nicely. Obviously, we've talked about the fact that you finally purchased a 14XX tank engine ready for O gauge, but Dapol also announced a very, very big announcement that I don't think, I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I don't know if you were, but they announced, let me see if I can get this right, the 14XX, the 48XX, and I can't remember, was it the 517?
So yeah. So yeah, 48XX, 14XX, they're the same loco, just got renumbered because the 28XXs were converted to oil firing, so that they renumbered them. And I believe the 58XX, which is in the same family, just don't have the auto train fitting. And then we got I think they're the Wolverhampton 517, so they're like the engine before the 14XX. So sort of the 14XX was rebuilt from that design with a better boiler, like enclosed cab of that. But yeah, that was a surprise. So when they first announced, I mean, I wasn't expecting it, and that's the thing with Daypole. They just drop the bomb whenever they like. They don't look like Hornby and Backman and give you a date of we're going to announce this. They just decide today's the day that we're going to tell you about on our latest model. And I completely missed the 14XX at first because I just saw the email and I saw the 517. I looked at it and went, "Oh, that's nice. That's a nice pretty grouping loco. Not really for me, but yeah, it's quite nice." And I know there's Fair Rosamond, I think, was quite a famous loco. Used on the Woodstock branch. So that's kind of aware of it. But yeah, then when I rechecked the email and saw 14XX, I was like, "Oh, that is quite exciting."
Because I remember texting you saying, "Oh, we can talk about this on the show. That's a really exciting announcement." And you were like, "Yeah, it's nice." And I was like, "Oh, that's not the reaction I was expecting." And then, like 20 minutes later, you went, one second, I've just rechecked it.
I only saw the 517. But yes, I think it's great. It looks like it's going to be a brilliant sort of model. Sort of because I was wondering with regards to Hatton's shutting its doors. And I know they teamed up with DGM Models some time ago to make the 14XX, and they had one run, and then it was rare as hen teeth to get hold of.
Yeah.
If anyone had actually got the tooling and would be, bringing that model back at some point. This looks like Daypo have just completely redesigned it, which is probably good because I think the DGM had motor issues and a few other problems with it. So, but yeah, it's like I think it's a die cast running plate on it and flickering firebox, etc. I think they've all got this planned, and there's a drive feature that's going to be on their digital chip. Apparently, I'm not quite sure what that's about. I just saw it on there. I need to do a little bit more research into that to find out what this drive feature is. But yeah, so they'll obviously have their analog version, their DC fitted version, and their DCC sound version.
I'm going to now come out with a shock horror, and this hopefully will come as a surprise to everyone. But I'm going to say this is the first Steam loco that I have ever pre-ordered.
Oh, you've pre-ordered already?
Yeah, I have a fear of missing out when it comes to pre-orders, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to pre-order this because it's my favorite Steam engine, and I love my Hornby one because it is sentimental to me, but the performance of it is nowhere near as good as some of the big deals that I have. And I like the Dapol locos that I do have, so I'm going to give Dapol my money and say, let's see how this goes. So I have, and actually, I'm going to say the price of the DC ready version is so reasonable compared to other locos that have come out that are that sort of size. And yeah, I instantly went and pre-ordered. So I've gone for the BR Black is the one I've gone for, 14XX. I asked James and I was like, oh, I don't know which one to go for. And then I thought, well, I've got the Great Western one. So I was like, well, I want to go for BR then. And then I was like, I'm going to go for BR Black and then just heavily weather it and make it look really nice and dirty and dusty. And I've gone for the sound fitted version as well.
Oh,
because I thought the price was so reasonable for it that I said, I'm just going to go for the sound one. And I've done it so I pre-ordered the Class 50 Royal Oak, then it sold out and I now can't get the sound version of it. And I regret not getting the sound version of it. So I've now said, if I do pre-order any new locos, I'm going to make sure that it's a sound version. So yeah, so that's me. That's the shock horror for me for this episode. I've pre-ordered the BR Black 14.
I do like how you followed my line of thought there when you asked me about it, and I went, well, if you get the BR Black one, you can weather it very heavily. I knew that would sway you.
It did. It also helps that I know that the model shop in Portsmouth currently have some BR Crimson auto coaches. So I've never had one, and I didn't think I needed one. But now that there's a new version coming out, I thought I might get the auto coach to match up with it. So we'll see. That's
Yeah.
that's pennies that I don't need to spend there at the moment. I've got plenty, as James knows, I've got plenty of debts to pay and legs to not be broken.
Yes, the hired goons will be coming round soon.
um, but yes, I did pre-order it and instantly fell in love with. I mean, I know we're not getting loads of drawings or pictures of it, but I just can't see them doing a bad job of it.
No, I think it'd be really nice, and it's one of those nice ones that they've gone back to their roots, sort of thing. I know. I think the 14XX originally came out with Airfix under their great model railway range many, many years ago. I mean, that's why what is now the Hornby tooling is so long in the tooth and probably, let's be honest, it's not the greatest model in the world. It's not the best performer in the world. It's got a traction tyre on it. It's, lacking in detail. So obviously the Airfix tooling went to Daypol, and Daypol made this model for many years before the original sort of OO gauge that Daypol did. It was shut down, and Hornby bought them out and bought all the tooling, and then Daypol revived a few years later with their N-gauge stuff and started. And that was quite nice because their N-gauge stuff was all the previous stuff that they'd done in OO, but now they were doing it in N, and then obviously they've expanded out and they don't confine themselves to one gauge; they just do what they like. So yeah, I think it's quite nice to see the return of the 14XX to the Daypol range.
Yeah. It's what's also nice is it's due to come out in Q4 in 2025. So it's a long way off yet. I'm very excited about this particular model coming out.
So if you got that one, will you be getting the Acura Scale pannier to go with?
No, because I have a perfectly decent pannier. I've said that now, and maybe I'm not so sure.
Yeah. You say that until you see the prototype that they put out on display, and it looks incredible. The Bachmann model is a very nice model, but it is a bit long in the tooth.
Yeah, I've got one of the old ones as well. Mine's hardwired DCC. I hadn't thought about it. I'm going to say what Bachmann one performs absolutely fine, whereas the Hornby one stuck around for nostalgia and because sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
Whereas the Bachmann one, it's but the new version is going to be so much better. So I'm going to quickly cover some of the bits about it because I've just pulled it up whilst James was going over some bits. But so it's a highly detailed model with many separate parts, including handrails, pipework, safety valve, whistle, lamp irons, and more. It's digital and sound capable, which is insane because the Hornby one didn't even have a decoder socket built into it. So the fact that Dapol are able to get a Next 18 decoder socket in there, and it's a tool-free installation via a PCB inside the smoke box on a sliding mechanism, which it seems that people are taking the lead from. I believe it's Acura Scale who were the first to do it, where you can just take the roof off your loco to do your chip rather than having to take the whole thing apart.
Yeah, I think Hornby may have done the. I could be wrong, but the smoke box door idea. I think it was one of their smaller locos, maybe the Peckett.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. Off the top of my head, but yeah, that whole being able to install a DCC chip without having to dismantle your entire loco is something that was needed a long time ago. Because let's face it. Everyone, I think, gets a little nervous when they have to flip a model over, take a few screws out, and try and pry the body shell off in hope they don't snap off any of the fragile parts. And I don't think there's anyone out there that can say they have a 100% success rate of doing that. So,
no, absolutely not. Also comes with a high quality coreless motor, so they're obviously saving a bit of space by having a coreless motor rather than the. I don't even know what the type of motor was. A combustible motor is what I know it as because I've known lots of people who those motors have burnt out and melted the shells on their 14XX.
I just thought that was a real smoke effect.
I mean, technically, it is real smoke. Also comes with a firebox glow effect, which is synchronized on the Sound factory fitted models. NEM tension lock couplings, which is great because the Hornby one comes with those weird Hornby clip lock couplings, which are not. They're the only manufacturer that seem to do them. Unless it's old Airfix.
Yeah, that's a hangover from the Airfix days. I think if you would find some of the other Airfix tooling that Hornby have, it's got that horrible, like you say, clip sort of coupling on there. I think if you buy the Daypol kits, like the wagon kits, that they still provide those couplings with them as well. So
Oh, really?
Happy.
Okay. But yeah, so that's the 14XX. I did want to quickly touch on the 517. It's not something that I'm necessarily head over heels in love with. Reminds me of, and I'm going to make sure I try and get this name correct. For some reason, it reminds me more of the Drummond M7 tank engine, the Southern one, the 044.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think yeah.
they look like great models. I know a lot of people were excited about the 517. I'm very excited about the 14XX.
I'm just more nervous now that we may have upset many Great Western modelers by comparing a Great Western Loco to a Southern engine and saying they look similar. I don't think that's going to go down very well.
Well, we like to rock the boat here at the Model Rail Replacement
I think we've
Podcast.
gone
So
too far here.
I don't know if I can edit that entire section out. We'll soon find out.
We'll keep it in, but I'm just have to. If my friend Owen at work hears this, I won't hear the end of it. But
You can blame the Southern boy. So in terms of other news or announcements, what else have we had?
I mean, this was a big one from Daypole, but obviously this week was Bachmann's summer announcements for 2024. A bit of a funny one, I thought, because there was new tooling, but they'd already announced the new tooling and they'd been progressively doing it through the spring. So they've got some new pallet vans. Last week they announced their new tooling for Mark One coaches and certain variants of that. And obviously the week before that at the Statfold Barn, or maybe 2 weeks before, but that was obviously the no gauge. We're not calling it NG7.
We will get it to catch on.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the most of their new tooling, and then they've obviously revealed samples of their Class 25, which I think it looks very nice.
It does look very nice. You are correct.
And yeah, it looks like they've done a good job there. It's always difficult because there's the Sutton Locomotive Works, who just do Class 24s and 25s as far as I'm aware. I don't think they've ever branched out from those two locos.
Right.
And I have had their 24 in the past, and it is museum quality, stunning. So only seeing the images of the Bachmann one online, it's difficult to make that comparison. But I'm hoping that they've seen that as their rival and they've gone down the same route and gone for that sort of museum quality modelling. But all in all, the 25s do look very good.
Yeah, they do look very nice. I think my biggest thing about the Bachmann announcement, and I say this about Hornby, I say this about anybody who decides to do a video announcement style. I find there's a lot of gumph in these that doesn't need to be there. And I feel announce all of the different things, give a little bit of a chat about it, but I don't need 10 minutes talking about one thing versus the 5 seconds that you spend on something else. Announce all of the things, and then from a content creator point of view, then release separate videos that go really in depth on all of these things. So do your announcement, and then it allows people who are interested in the various things to go to the specific video on it. And that's my personal opinion. I find that with a lot of these announcements, there's so much gumph that is in there that doesn't need to be. The Hornby one, I always said about, like, they talk a lot about the flirt. And it's just, okay, that's nice. Tell me about the things, and then say, and if you want to see more on this, there'll be a video up at the end of this that you can go and see, and like just cut things down and make it bite-sized pieces. So do the announcement and I think I clocked it being 15 minutes before we saw our first new loco that wasn't Collectors Club.
Yeah,
and it's a long time to be sitting there. And
see, I think it's a 47-minute video, because I tried to watch it again this morning on the train home. Just so it was fresh in my mind, because I knew we were going to talk about it today. But yeah, I woke up yesterday after a night shift. I knew the announcement. I saw your text messages, and so I thought, yeah, I better have a look. And like you say, I'm sat there and I'm double tapping on the screen, just skipping through, because all I really want to know is what you're going to make and what's coming out, and is my wallet safe? And I appreciate the hard work that they put into it, and I know they're very proud of what they do, and I'm not trying to knock them for that. But yeah, like you say, it would be, I think, better to split these things up, even by the gauges. Does the N-gauge announcements need to be in with the OO announcements? Or could you do separate videos so people could see separate things there? I don't know. Maybe, but they've got people that work in marketing. They probably know better than what we do.
I'm sure they've had thousands of pre-orders.
The only way we know how to advertise is to pretend to be Boris Johnson. So,
as a side piece to that, I did try doing a Keir Starmer-esque rebuttal, but my Keir Starmer impression is nowhere near as good as James's Boris impression. So we just decide to now get Boris to do all of our announcements for us and our apology videos. So so everyone's missing out on my Keir Starmer, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, we did talk about having a debate, didn't we? Well, I think we just ran out of time to put it together.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot easier for you to put your jacket and tie on and do your impression than it is for me to pretend to know what I'm talking about. The other thing about the announcements, so there wasn't necessarily anything in the 00 gauge, made me go, oh my God, that's amazing. I did really like the 450 Southwestern Railways liveried Class 450. But that was N gauge, and there were a couple of. I'm not usually nitpicky, but until somebody pointed out that the yellow ends are the completely wrong shape. So Southwest Max, thanks for pointing that out. I now can't unsee it, but it is true. It is a completely different shape to how it's meant to be on the actual locos. But they looked really nice. And the other thing that really caught my eye was the no gauge announcement. And just sort of seeing the painted liveries of the locos, they looked really nice, even in just the body form. But now seeing them with their particular color, their liveries on them, it made me go, yeah, I do think if I was going to branch out of 00 gauge, this would be something that could really, really tempt me. I mean,
yeah. I think Alice, absolutely stunning in that red and the open cab, and especially with that Fireblocks flicker. That's where I would go for an open cab loco over a cab loco. I thought that looked really nice. But for me, the announcement, I was more excited about the Scenecraft side of things, particularly the 009, the Boston Lodge engine shed.
Yeah, that did look stunning.
I thought that's great. I think there's the harbour goods shed as well. There was a few other narrow gauge things on there I thought looked really good. The GSMR signal post and the associated cabin with it is essential for anyone modelling from 2012 onwards. You've got to have a GSMR post on your layout somewhere, because that's basically how we communicate with drivers from that date onwards. The in-cab radio and all that all went, and it was all just GSMR now. So that's very exciting to see. And I think I don't usually buy like the Scenecraft and Hornby's version of it very often. I like to scratch build, but that might be something I'll be pre-ordering. And the same with, I think I might get that shed because that just looks so good. So yeah, it was more the buildings I was excited about, which usually I'm not, because as I say, I like to scratch build. But yeah, there was a few things there I thought looked pretty good.
It's been a really nice week for announcements. There's been a lot of things to get excited about. I can't think. Have we missed anything else off, or do you think that's pretty much covered everything?
I think we covered everything. I know Key Model World during their show had a few new products. I think they've got a few new laser cut products, but just before we came on, I tried to just do a quick search and find out what they were, but I can't find what they've announced. I know they've done a tunnel portal because Dudley Central's put theirs on their layout already, which looks really good. And the other thing is, a while back they announced they were going to do the DC Rail Class 60 locomotive and the Capag blue wagons that go with it, or the plain Royal Blue wagons, and they announced 8 versions of that, and they sold out really quick, and so they've just announced another 8 versions. So that's, on one part I'm saying that's exciting. Another part I'm a bit annoyed because I ordered double of the running numbers so I can have a good rake train, and now I found out that with the £5 deposit that's non-refundable, I can't cancel for those running numbers and order 4 new running numbers. Which, if anyone at Key Model World's listening, that is there something we can do about that?
I think I'm going to say that's the most upset you've ever sounded on this podcast.
It's just annoying when the things. I mean, this is probably a completely different subject we could probably have a whole podcast about, but I just find it so annoying that manufacturers, particularly for modern day modelling, have to make every livery going all at once, because in particular to these wagons, and I'm not trying to knock Revolution Trains, I appreciate that Bernardo and team are just a small little company. They started off their own back, and they need, they do these things to bring in the money. It's just that when you decide that you're going to make this wagon and you're going to do Network Rail, you're going to do DB Shanker, you're going to do GBRF, and say you got this Royal blue Capag livery that you see on the network everywhere, and look at it, go, well, I kind of would like to model those trains, but I can. There's no way I can afford to buy a rake of every livery. I would prefer it if these things were broken up a little bit, and gave us time to save up, because I'm not one for putting something on a credit card and paying it off. I'm very much of the mentality, if I can't afford it, I don't have it. So it's the same with, and again, not trying to knock a cure scale, and I do, like we've said it before, with like the payment scheme that they do, where you can pay it off a little bit at a time. I think that's great, but again, with the 66s, and it, partly because obviously I decided to change era, and I'm sure the modelers that have been in that same era for some time wouldn't have splurged as much as I did. But again, it would have been nice if you go just do like 3 or 4 this year and then 3 or 4 next year, something like that, rather than 9 all in one go. But that's just my thought on these things. That's my problem, because that's how I spend money. And that's my rant over. I think that's something that covers everything for news as well.
Well, I'm really happy about that. So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back to the outro, and we'll speak to you all in a sec.
And we are back. We have a little special guest, and I say little special guest because he's only about 3 foot tall. Obviously, we're talking about the Key Model World show, and one of the things I liked about it was what they did for the younger generation, how there was the various activities that kids could do to try and encouragement and enjoy the various hobbies that are out there. But why should I talk about how good it was? Why not get someone who actually experienced it? So on the show, it is my son. Today we have the boy, and he's going to talk about his experience of Key Model World. So welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. So you came to the show with me at the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, what we're going to ask you is, first question, what was your favourite part?
The diorama.
The diorama. So for everyone listening, can you explain what you did?
So I painted a cliffside, and I made the little tree and stuck it all and put some scatter over it.
That's really cool, isn't it? So yeah, so you painted a little plaster cliff, wasn't it? And then you put some scatter over it, and then they showed you how to make a little tree, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Are you going to take those skills and are you going to use them on your layout?
Yeah.
you have, haven't you?
I've already done the static graph on it.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So even just going to this show, you already picked up some new bits that you can use on your own hobby when you're at home.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, your dad's asked you the main question. I've got to come to the question that's not so great. But having been there, is there something that you think could have been better, and maybe next year the show could do that instead? What do you think?
The massive Thomas layout.
What's that?
Yeah.
I think everyone inside probably still wants to see a massive Thomas layout. I mean, let's get down to the nitty gritty. If there was going to be one character on the massive Thomas layout, who would it have to be?
Thomas.
Oh, I mean, solid choice.
What about who would your favourite engine be on there though?
Edward.
Edward. Oh, it's Edward now, is it? Oh, it used to be Gordon. We've changed, have we? Edward's a good choice. You can't go wrong with old Steady Eddie, can you? Did you meet anyone at the show?
Pete Waterman.
Pete Waterman. How was that?
Good.
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah. Cool.
So the biggest question of them all, you went to this massive show, you had a really, really good time. Did you buy anything with your pocket money?
Yeah.
What did you get?
Pullman coach.
A Pullman coach. Oh, very nice. What colour Pullman coach?
Chocolate cream.
A very, very, very good choice. And is that to go on your layout or is that to go on your dad's layout?
My layout.
Oh, okay. Good choice.
Buffet car.
Oh, the best car on any train. I love a buffet.
There you go. It's actually even better than that. It's the Hadrian Bar. So
oh, yeah, that is a really good one then.
That's it. So excellent stuff. Everyone, that's the boy. That was his thoughts on Key Model World. And I'd just like to say thank you for coming on the show. And I know you've been wanting to come on here. How was it for you?
Good.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
The big question is, are you going to give us 5 stars on Spotify?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because otherwise we'd have to have some really tough talks.
That's it. Yeah. You made it when the boy gives you 5 stars.
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to say again, thank you to the boy for coming on the show. So yeah, as we like to do at the end of episodes, it's our social media shout out for the week. So we obviously like to find something that's interested us that we think the rest of the world should know about. So not always necessarily the smaller channels. Sometimes we talk about the bigger channels, but we just like to sort of point you in the direction of something we think is interesting. So Sam, what have you found for us this week?
This week, I'm going to be giving you James Hilton custom model railways.
That was going to be mine.
Was it actually?
I was going to pick it, and I changed. I've got something else. I changed my mind last second, but yeah, mine was going to be exactly the same.
So just to reiterate, it's James Hilton custom model railways. I like it because what James does is there's a lot of micro layouts that they do, whether it's N gauge or whether it's 00 gauge, and they do little episodes here and there where they either do some ASMR style videos, which are quite interesting. There's some just painting episodes. There's just a lot of things. And the one that caught my eye, especially today, is they've talked about how they power their layout through the exact same control. So it's only one cable going in, but it powers the lighting, the controller and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. Why did you want to talk about it, James?
It's that ASMR stuff. I think a lot of people like to put YouTube on in the background when they're just working away on the layout, and you don't always watch it, you just listen to it. And while he is superb modeler, I really do like his work, just that gentle voice, just talking away. Like the episode I watched the other day, he's just painting sleepers, just talking about it, just describing what's going on outside. He's near, I think he's near the Langonan Railway. He can hear the DMU going up and down the line. So chilled and relaxed. I think that tends to theme of my YouTube videos is like, I like the chilled, relaxed videos. But yeah, at the same time, like his modeling, it's brilliant, and they're not massive layouts, are they? They're nice, small, little detailed shelf layouts. I think he likes to go for those IKEA shelves to build on. And some of them are just literally a piece of track that the train shuttles backwards and forwards on. I really do enjoy his channel. So yeah, that's why it was also going to be my shout out. But I do have another one in the back pocket. So
what is also cool is that you can visit James's blogspot post, which is paxton-road.blogspot.com, which I think is his how he gets his commission work, because a lot of the stuff that he does is commission work. So he builds layouts for other people. So worth looking at. But the videos that are on there are fantastic to sit and watch. And it goes to show that James and I picking it the exact same week, it proves that we don't necessarily, some stuff that we do is a surprise to each other. But yeah, really, really lovely videos to watch. If you get a chance, go and check it out. Tell James we sent you as well. That's something that I want to try encouraging people is, I heard about you on the Model Rail Replacement podcast.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is the great thing about that, isn't it? That we've both found a channel that we both wanted to recommend. I think that probably strengthens the point that it should be a channel you should go check out. So mine this week is one that I followed for some time. It's an American railroad channel. It's NS Modeler 24. You may already know about it because he has 63.5k subscribers. However, the videos and the sort of the modeling on this is just absolutely phenomenal. And it's one of those layouts when we talk about fiddle yards, and we're saying in regards to some of the American railroad modelers, some of them do a whole system and they don't need a fiddle yard. And this is one of those layouts where it's from one end of the line to the other end of the line that I don't think there's any storage yard in there. And it's mostly like just bringing coal trains up and down the hill. I think they get loaded at the bottom and then they put the locos on and they take them around the layout, which is absolutely spectacular, get to the top, and then they have a wagon unloader on there, which is absolutely brilliant. And each wagon is uncoupled, runs onto this unloader, tips, empties the coal out, which cleverly then goes into a storage hopper, which then takes the coal back to the bottom of the layout, ready to go into the next set of empty wagons to go back up to the top of the layout. So you've got that, the level of weathering and detail that they do. They also... the swing gate idea for my layout came from their layout, because they had a swing gate on theirs. That's where I got that idea from. So yeah, I really do enjoy that channel. Something really fun to watch. So that's the NS Modeler 24. That's my recommendation of the week.
I've just actually searched it up, and I'm looking at it now as you've been doing your talking, and visually it looks stunning. So I've subscribed. NS Modeler 24, and I'm gonna watch some of those videos a little bit later today, I think.
So that's our social media recommendations of the week. Next week, we have our second guest, and we will be dropping hints of who that may be. In fact, hints may have already been dropped if you look around social media, and it's very exciting. In fact, this person that we're interviewing, I managed to bump into at the Key Model show and have a nice little chat again. So always a pleasure to talk to. So I guarantee it will be a pleasure to listen to. So that's next week's episode. But for now, I'll just say that hopefully we've been entertaining, informative, and have replaced your model railway, if just for a little bit. I've been James, and with me's been Sam. Good night.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.